When we arrived in Prague, the first impression was that we were in one of the most beautiful cities in the entire world, surrounded by huge and very charming buildings with a great histories hidden in them. Nevertheless, during the first weeks, we realized that we, as Spanish students, were very different from the Czech people in terms of routines, expressions, ways to eat, and many more things that end up with the creation of the Czech Republic society's character.
After this, we thought the best question about our project it will be this: how have different aspects affected the construction of the Czech people identity?
After this, we set up 4 main objectives. The first one is to know more about the Czech culture. The second one is to discover their point of view about their history.
The third one was to compare how has changed the climatology in the Czech Republic since 1985 until 2018. And the last one was to interview a varied collective of Czech people to know more about the topics we want to investigate. After this, we have tried to interview a lot of Czech people and Czech teachers that refuse to participate in our project because of their personality, of their character. So we have only found one person, who is Anna, and is a teacher of the school where we have been, Základní škola mateřská, and she is going to answer our questions about the different topics. During the 20th century, the Czech Republic has suffered 2 invasions, both the German and the Soviet. Do you think this has marked the reserved character of the Czech society?
Both the invasions influenced the history, or influenced the Czech nature, Czech identity, definitely. The first thing is that I think that many Czechs feel weak somehow because we are a little country, and we didn't fight against the Germans. They just came, invaded us, and Hitler said that we are now part of his country, and we didn't do anything, even if many people wanted to, many soldiers were ready, but the order, the command was not to fight, and so of course it would, if someone attacks you and you don't fight, of course then you feel like very weak and as a victim, and I think it also influences your self-confidence.
During the Soviet era, we found that 1 out of 10 people were informants of the regime and many rights and freedoms were forbidden. Do you think this has something to do with the current character of the country's population?
Yeah, almost everyone, or more than half of the Czech people were members of the Communist Party. So, of course, now you only can hear that it was bad, and it was bad, but you have to somehow, like live with the people, and it's definitely difficult, and that's why I think this is why we are afraid of many things. We are afraid of the truth, but maybe not all of them, or not all of us. Maybe the young people, like children and teenagers, are okay with this because it's just a history for them.
The climate of the Czech Republic is quite dry and cold, and there are not many hours of sun in winter. Do you think that this has something to do with the character of local people?
In Moravia, which is like more to the south and to the east, there's much more sun during the year, and people there are more friendly, I would say. They are not cold compared to people from this part, like around Prague.
Analyzing different graphics about the highest and lowest degrees average temperature of these 2 regions of Czech Republic, Moravia and Bohemia, we wanted to verify the statement point of view relating to the interview made it about climatology. On the one hand, observing the data collected on the maximum and minimum temperatures, it can be seen that the average temperature is very similar in both regions. There are some degree points different in few months, as July or August, where there are highest degree temperatures in Moravia, or for instance, in November or December there are the lowest. On the other hand, we could observe that in Moravia's region there are more sunny days than Bohemia. Perhaps this data is an important point to conclude that Moravian citizens are more friendly and happier than Bohemian people.
Do you believe in traditional regional cuisine as an element of identity and local development?
I wouldn't say it has got an influence. We have fat cuisine, like we use a lot of fat. We like meat and dumplings. I don't know if you have tried dumplings. So it's not like Spanish food, which, as far as I know, is like lighter, but we have heavy stuffs, and I think it has something to do with the winters, which now are not so bad, but in the past the winter was colder.
How do you think it has affected the boom of tourism in the city of Prague?
Yes, there are so many tourists that I'm fed up with it. But it's just because I was born here, and I still remember Prague as I wouldn't say a little town, but like more local town with not so many tourists, and it was calmer, and I could go to the center and without meeting thousands of people, and it was better for me, just it was like more romantic, for example, to go in the narrow streets, narrow lanes of the city without meeting Japanese groups of tourists. But now it's definitely better for like from the economic view, because tourists bring money, so it's better from this point of view.
Do you believe that the Czech character is marked by the influences of other regions or countries that are on the brink, or is the Czech identity based in their own people, culture, and history?
Yeah, I can feel it very well that there are differences between the west and the east of the Republic. My husband is from the border of the Czech Republic and Poland, and his family is really first. You can hear it because they speak almost Polish. It's like it's not Czech, and also they behave somehow differently. They all go to church, which is not very usual here in Prague. I don't know if you know it, but many people just don't believe in God. If they believe, they don't like the church, they don't go there. But there in Silesia, which is near to Poland, and Poland is very like Catholic country, so yeah, everyone goes to the church.
Do you think that the stage of communism has left traces in the architecture of the city of Prague nowadays?
Communism has left traces in the architecture. You can see it everywhere. The traces of this architecture are the blocks of flats called panelák in Czech. I don't know if you have heard it or not, but you can see it everywhere. It's not in the center. It's forbidden by law to build something like this in the inner center of Prague. But in other places out of the center, you can see it everywhere. I don't like it, but it's part of our history, and yeah, it's how it was.
In this documental, we have exposed many reasons that have taken part in the formation of the Czech Republic character since the Nazism and communism invasion. All the topics that we have chosen are related to the Czech identity, but we have realized that not all of them are strongly connected to our main question. We have observed that Czech people have a distinguished personality, but after talking with them and investigating the different aspects of our hypothesis, we have concluded that they are not aware of it. Nevertheless, we reckon that their history and geographic location are the main reasons that have influenced the most their character.